Hello. Today I wanted to do a part 2 for my Housebound agoraphobia video. I felt like I just kind of missed some stuff, and who knows, maybe there'll be a part 3. I just thought I would start by saying, in the past, people with housebound agoraphobia would have probably been called hermits or recluses or shut-ins. There's different terms that are out there for housebound agoraphobia, and some of them are very different from one another. They all kind of mean the same thing, but there's different reasons for people to be housebound. Some people could have weight issues and they're embarrassed to go outside and they don't leave their homes. Are they agoraphobic? I'm not so sure. They're getting their anxiety from a specific thing. So, their weight is causing them to be fearful of others' opinions, and therefore they are scared to go outside. So I'm not sure. I don't know the definition, if it would mean that, but lots of different scenarios like that. That's just an example off the top of my head. So the definition of agoraphobia is an abnormal fear of being helpless in a situation from which escape may be difficult or embarrassing. That is characterized initially often by panic or anticipatory anxiety, and finally by the avoidance of open or public places. So this is really more where I am at. These are my fears. These are the things that make me agoraphobic, which is also the definition of it. I have tremendous anticipatory anxiety. It is where all of it starts. It's the anticipation of going outside. It's the anticipation of going to a store. It's the anticipation of what I am going to feel. So what am I going to feel outside? And a lot of people say, well, if you can handle yourself inside, you can handle yourself outside. It doesn't make a difference where you are. You're still going to have the same feelings. I beg to differ. In certain circumstances, I will have those feelings inside, but I will always feel safer inside than I do outside. I still have not got to that point where, I am my own safe person. I am in control of myself. I don't feel that when I'm outside. Agoraphobia is also a rare thing. People don't understand it. I don't understand it, to be honest. So why should other people understand it? So I don't know. It's just such an overwhelming feeling that I would really, really like to get past. I was also going to kind of talk about maybe some of the stuff that led up to my agoraphobia. I mentioned some of this in another video, but it's really difficult for me to pinpoint it all. I had severe separation anxiety from my mom growing up. It was terrible. And that was also something that kind of came out of nowhere. I was very young. I don't remember a time not having that growing up. It was just there. And it was an intense fear of, I guess, something happening to her. And I guess being alone. I guess that's ultimately what your fear is. Especially when you're so young, you don't know. That carried right through in my life. Now, there have been points in time in my life where I have been perfectly fine, and I was never agoraphobic before. I never had a fear of leaving, going outside. I never had a fear of anything like that. And really, my fears and anxieties were all manageable. I wasn't even medicated back then. I went on medication about 15 years ago. I had finished college, I had moved back home, and I had got a job at a restaurant, and that is when my agoraphobia, or no, that's not when my agoraphobia started. That's when my severe anxiety started. That's when it was like I started to avoid things. Like that's when I had started struggling with driving. That's when I started struggling with that kind of thing. And it just progressively, slowly, and I mean, this is over a span of like 10 to 15 years, progressively got worse and worse and worse. And then when I moved provinces, that's when the agoraphobia took hold. Now, is that stemming from the separation anxiety when I was little? I have no idea. But, you know, I was an outgoing person. I was not somebody who was an anxiety kind of person. You would have never guessed that. Always full of energy and vitality, and always able to go and do anything at a drop of a hat. There was no thought process. There was nothing like that. Like, this isn't something that just, it feels like it came out of nowhere. But when I look back, there are a couple of little red flags, not necessarily agoraphobic red flags, but, you know, the anxiety getting worse red flags. What is my fear when I go out? That's a really, really tough thing. So I guess initially my fear is not getting back. So, and not catastrophe. I'm not talking about things being in my path to stop me. It's like I would be stopping myself or not being physically able to get back. And I'm not sure where that stems from or why, but that's where the thoughts go. That's where the thought processes happen. I am scared of the overwhelming feelings. I'm scared of, you know, I get that. It's so hard to explain. I guess it's almost like a blanket just covers your body in this feeling of, and you know, your heart starts racing, or you start getting that antsy feeling, like you're crawling out of your skin kind of feeling, like get me out of the situation kind of feeling, or, you know, your breath gets labored. Those are the feelings that I get when that is my fear. That is fear. It's ultimately, so think of yourself in a scary situation, or okay, so think of yourself driving a car and somebody almost hits you. They don't hit you, nothing is fearful, but you get that adrenaline rush. That's kind of what I get when I go outside. And it's kind of like it progressively just stays there. It doesn't necessarily leave. So it doesn't, like, you know, after the car almost hits you and you get that startled feeling, moments later it usually dissipates. You're like, okay, I'm okay, everything's fine. And it goes away and you carry on, and that's it. But mine tends to, my brain starts to overthink those feelings, and then it just progressively gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And I feel like I can't handle myself. I feel like I am going to lose control of myself. And so therefore, I don't want to lose control of myself when I'm not at home. If I'm at home and I lose control of myself, I have methods and ways to calm myself down. Whereas I cannot seem to figure out how to use those methods and ways or make it okay to do that out in public. I am definitely fearful of other people's expectations of me. You know, that is something that's where it stems from. You know, other people's expectations of how far I can go. Or I also have this weird thing. So like, because if I'm going out, I'm not going out by myself. I would have to be going with somebody else because I don't drive. Now, I could obviously go for a walk, which I do go on very short, small walks. Which I have difficulty doing with other people as well. And why is that? And it's because you have this fear of letting that person down. You have a fear that if I can't do this, there's this other person that is going to see me struggle and flail and lose control of myself or yourself, you know? And I guess that's where it's all stemming from. That's the fear. And why isn't that okay? Like, why can't I be okay with that? It's not like I don't trust the people that would be going out with me or the people that are around me. I guess it's a feeling of letting that person down, not being able to control myself, or I don't know, sobbing uncontrollably or vomiting, or I don't know, something of that nature. Not being able to control your bladder or bowels or one of those things, you know. But the crazy thing is, these things don't bother me in day-to-day life. You know, if I'm in my house and I'm going to vomit, and wouldn't even faze me if somebody else was around me. So I'm not sure why there's this disconnect from the two. And maybe that's just where it comes down to, like, the embarrassment, you know. So there's that. Another thing, I guess, when I say that I'm housebound agoraphobic, I don't leave for any reason. Some people who are housebound agoraphobic can still go to the doctors and things like that. I have not been able to do that. At this point, I don't want to do that. I don't have faith in the medical system, so I don't have any reason to go to a doctor. But there are certain things that I wish that I could do, even if it came to just, you know, getting blood work done regularly. So just little things like that. So those are just some of the little things that I thought that, you know, I should mention. When it comes to this, it is kind of a complicated topic because it is all internal. It is all thoughts and physical feelings. They are all within me. If you looked at me, you're looking at me right now, there's nothing wrong with me. I look like a normal girl. You would never see a physical ailment. Nothing looks wrong. I don't look different on the outside. So it is one of those invisible illnesses. It is something that, and I guess maybe that's why I feel like I need to take care of it myself. This is something that I need to deal with. But I also don't think that this is going to be fixed from another person. Now, could it be fixed from a different way of thinking? Sure. Maybe practicing some sort of modality that I'm not aware of? Sure. I do think that spirituality is going to come into play for me. I do feel like it's one of the keys for me getting out of this. I feel like I need to figure out my spirituality and my core beliefs. I feel like that's definitely something that is going to be one of the keys to me figuring it out. And when I say figuring it out, pulling myself out of the agoraphobic world. I still have a strong belief in that I am going to get better. I do have a strong belief that this is a lesson in life that I'm learning from. It's so hard not having that end, not knowing where this ends, when this ends, how many more years am I gonna have to go through this? So that part is really difficult, but I need to just keep persevering, keep trying, keep figuring it out. And thus far I haven't stopped, and I'm not going to stop. You know, there's other things I can try. I'm gonna just keep pushing along, but I do fully believe that me figuring out my spirituality is going to be a key. And to be honest with you, I don't know what that looks like either. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't read or seen something that has totally 100% clicked, and I feel like I need that click, you know, that this is it. This is the thing that's going to to do it. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps somebody. I hope that you can feel like there is somebody else going through it, somebody else that is trying to figure it out. And I will definitely share my experiences with you if I figure something out that pulls me out of it. You know, some people, there are people that do get pulled out of it, and they get pulled out of it from weird things that, you know, makes you try them because you're like, yes, I can do that too. And you try them and it doesn't work for you. So this is definitely a one person, everybody is different kind of scenario. But again, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.